You are listening to the About to Break podcast. This is the show where we talk to artists and entertainers every week about the ups and downs of life in the entertainment business. And being an artist who has experienced the ups and downs of life in this business and just trying to pay the bills on the process, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to all the producers, everyone who's giving financially every month. We've got people who give as little as $1. We've got people who give $50 a month because they love this program and they want to support it. They want to keep these conversations going. I never started this to make money. I started this as a labor of love. It really is solidarity for the journey. There was a time in my life when I was struggling. I made the decision to go full-time as an entertainer, and I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. I've got a wife and 2 kids, and now a mortgage payment, and all those things run through your mind. You know, you're thinking of how can I take and do this thing I love for a living, and yet how can I support a family in the process? And so I want to thank everyone who's gone to Patreon. Patreon has provided a way for artists to continue creating and yet to be able to make money, and it doesn't cost much. It's just whatever you want to give, as little as $1 a month. Like I said, $12 a year is all it takes. If you want to give more, that's fantastic. But if you can only give $1, that's amazing too. And if you can't give anything, we so appreciate you just listening to these conversations and being part of these conversations on social media. Just want to take a moment and thank everybody who's sponsoring the program, everyone who's commenting, who's sharing, who's getting the word out there. These conversations are my encouragement. They inspire me. These artists that we get to talk to are absolutely incredible. And I just want to thank you guys for believing in this idea enough to give to it. So thank you to all the producers. Let's get into the show.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Something is about to break.
It is Wednesday, November 29th, and we just got back from Thanksgiving vacation. I got to let you know, we are the type of family that loves the holidays. We love Christmas music and trees and lights and all that jazz. And it's just a big tradition for us. And so every year, I cannot wait. I enjoy Thanksgiving. I love the food. I love being with family. But there's that moment when Thanksgiving is over, and I am just so jazzed to throw on Charlie Brown Christmas or the Pentatonic Christmas album or whatever guilty pleasure pop song Christmas music I'm listening to at the time and get the decorations up. So we've done it, guys. We've got it. It's not even December. We've got a tree. We've got lights. I've got a Christmas Story leg lamp sticking in my window. It's full on Christmas at the Hughes household. Other than that, I've just been working on building a shed. And I got to stop calling it a shed. It's our studio. It's our office. It's the World Shed Quarters, folks. In fact, I'm going to post some pictures this week. I committed to do it. I'm going to post some pictures of the process and where we're at on abouttobreakpodcast.com. I'll put those on the homepage so you guys can see. But working at home is a challenge sometimes. You know, you literally right now I'm recording this intro in a 46 square foot closet that I have set up as a sound booth and I've used to record almost every intro for this podcast. It's a closet. It's a broom closet in the middle of our house. It's been the studio, but not for long, folks. Not for long, because now we've got walls and a roof and doors and insulation and electrical, and pretty soon we are going to have a fully functioning studio for the podcast, and I cannot wait to share it with you guys. We're going to start posting videos over on the YouTube page, so you might want to check that out, and I think you'll be as excited as I am. It's going to be pretty great. This is episode 50 of the podcast. I can't believe we're already at 50. I can't believe that so many people are listening and sharing and commenting, and it really means the world to me that you guys enjoy this thing, because this is a roller coaster of a journey. What would happen if we took the conversations we have as entertainers in the green room or after the show or on the phone with friends when we're struggling and put them out there on the interweb for everybody? So thank you guys for joining us in this journey. Episode 50 is going to be great, guys. I've got Scot Nery on the podcast. I've been a huge fan of Scot Nery for years. He is a true artist. He's hilarious. He's a great MC. He's an incredible host. He's a great producer. This is the guy that other artists are so grateful for because he's the one who helps them find work in TV and in productions. If you've ever watched The Late Late Show with James Corden and you've seen variety artists on there, they find those artists because they call Scott on the phone and they say, "Hey, Scott, we need someone." And he's done that for artists for the show Baskets, for the Gong Show, the new Gong Show that's out right now, for America's Got Talent. Scott's been performing professionally since he was 11 years old. Since that time, he's been to 7 different countries. He's been on The Tonight Show. He's performed for numerous Fortune 500 companies. This guy knows the ins and outs of the business, and not just the business side of things, the artistic side of things. And there's such a balance in our conversation today. It's fun, it's lighthearted, but it's serious at times. I walked away so encouraged, and I know that you're going to be encouraged as well. In addition to being a consultant for TV and for companies that are trying to provide entertainment and create a whole experience for their group, Scott produces the best weekly variety show in Los Angeles. Hands down. Every Wednesday night, he puts on BoobieTrap. Scot Nery's BoobieTrap is one of the funnest things you will ever do on a Wednesday night. You need to come check it out. In fact, if you're listening to this podcast on the day it comes out, Wednesday, November 29th, I'll be performing small part of Scot Nery's show tonight. You can come out and you can come see me, and we can hang, and I can introduce you to Scott. You can experience what so many people have found to be not just an incredible show, but an incredible community of people who just love the variety arts. Let's get into it, folks. Here he is, performer, MC, producer, consultant, Scot Nery. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to About to Break. I'm your host, Taylor Hughes, and this week I could not be more excited to be joined by the wonderful, incredible, amazing Scot Nery. How are you, sir?
I'm great. I'm doing well.
I'm doing so good. I'll be honest, I was a little stressed getting here.
Yeah.
I came from another appointment. I was like trying to find parking. That's always exciting in LA. Yeah. I walked in your house and immediately was calm. You've got a good vibe going here, man. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's due to my wife. My aesthetic is usually like between a space station and a shipwreck. I usually just try to keep everything aesthetically very sterile and weird.
Yeah, lots of buttons.
A lot of buttons.
Little spaceship.
Yeah, everything's waterproof.
Yeah.
I have I'm very pragmatic a lot of times with a lot of things, and she brings this beauty and actual good feelings to my life.
Love it, man. And you just recently got married.
Just got married.
Just officially, how long ago was that? Recently? A couple weeks?
2 minutes ago.
That's amazing. Wow. This is literally the reception right now. They're in the other room waiting. They've got cake and a DJ. And as soon as we finish this podcast, because Scott said, I want to take care of the most important stuff first.
Right. This podcast was recorded November 8th, 1806. It was, I got married on October 7th, and I still remember my anniversary.
That's great, man, after all this time.
Yeah, it was great. We got married at Brookledge, which is this amazing magic. The royalty of LA magic live there.
Oh, yeah.
It's where the people the heirs to the Magic Castle, their home with they have a beautiful backyard garden with a theater in it.
It's amazing. When I grew up in the junior program at the castle, and so they would once a year they'd put on a big barbecue and have lectures come, and so you'd have Teller from Penn and Teller come lecture, and you're in this theater in the middle of Hollywood in someone's back. It's amazing. Yeah. When you said you were getting married, I was like, that's fantastic. Yeah. That's the place.
It was unbelievable. That was our 5th date or something. I performed there, and we just love it. It's a magical. It's kind of a lot of the stuff that represents us. It's entertainment and old Hollywood. We're both from the East, but we love Hollywood. We feel like it's our home now, and it's also just weird and kind of creepy like us. Yeah. Not creepy. We're just it's weird and fun, and it's full of surprises, and it's lovable instantly. So that's us.
It totally is. People who are listening to the podcast will have heard the intro, because I will have done the best intro ever.
I loved that intro.
It was so good
that
I will eventually record. But Scott, you put on the best weekly show in LA, hands down.
Thank you.
And I am disappointed in myself that it took me so long to get in to see BoobieTrap. I was blown away. I was like, this is amazing. This happens every week. How in the hell does he do this every week?
Yeah.
But it is whimsical and fun, and I mean, there's magic and comedy and circus and music, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love that, man. You can tell that you do love Hollywood and you love vaudeville. And
yeah.
How did you get into this crazy world, man?
I just paid my way in. I just, I gave Jeff McBride $700.
Yes, that was for the first course, right?
And then I got into this world.
Yeah.
He was standing at the gates of heaven. And
he was.
Then I was born.
Wearing a kimono.
Dressed like a Asian lady.
Yeah.
Jeff McBride is a great magician.
Amazing.
If you ever get a chance, go see him in the 80s. Anyway.
Oh my gosh! This officially now. I already think he hates me, and I've never met him. But no, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go there.
I've never met him. I assume he hates me.
I've never met him, but I know he hates me because somebody invited me. You know, you always get thrown. Facebook. They say they invite you, but you're already in the group. You know, they're like, you've been invited to this group.
Right.
It's like, I'm already in the group. People think I'm part of this group.
Right, like being kidnapped. And
Yes, it's like you're
van.
abducted into the Facebook group. Well, I got invited into memes for magicians.
Okay.
And people make funny memes out of magic pictures because magicians have horrible promo pictures.
Right.
And I'm like, this is fun.
It's a hard, I don't know. It's a complicated realm anyway.
It is very complicated, yes. So I was like, if I'm in this group, I need to make a meme, introduce myself to the group. So the one and only meme I ever made, and this is so awful. I shouldn't say this. Another great magician recently passed, incredible Eugene Berger. Mm-hmm. They took a photo together at one point, and it was just an awkward photo. It looked like a prom picture.
Yeah.
So I just posted that picture and said, best prom ever. And immediately I was hated.
You were hated?
By magicians
worldwide
for my disrespect.
Did you get kicked out of the unsolicited group? We want memes for magicians, but not like memes.
Yeah. There's and it's not a disrespectful thing. It's like, okay, let's not take ourselves so seriously. Maybe we should have a little bit of fun.
Maybe you need like a level 2 memes for magicians Facebook group.
It's like the bad boys of memes for magicians. It's like we only post the really crazy ones.
Like how much of your life do you want to dedicate to it? But
yes.
Yeah. So
that's how you joined
that's
memes for magicians and then moved to Hollywood.
I never met Jeff McBride either, but I started doing magic when I was a little kid. I started when I was 7. I remember going to Disney World, and all I wanted to do was go to the magic shop. I heard there was a magic shop there, and we didn't have one in my hometown. Yeah. So that was like one of my first magic memories. I remember seeing a magician at a school or something, but he was doing some trick with a tube and some handkerchiefs, and they turned into balls. They were 3 colored handkerchiefs, and they turned into like stoplight colored balls. Okay. So that's a pretty good trick. That'll make people magicians. So but I went to Disney World, got some tricks, kept on like trying to find magic tricks wherever I could, which I wasn't very able to as like a 10-year-old or 9-year-old or whatever. So and then I had this trick that was from FAO Shorts Magic Store, and cool. It was a little card box, and it was a little black box with a metal plate in it, and you put a card in, and you turn it over, and then you open it back up, and it was a different card. Yes, it's like a magnet. Oh thing. Yes, and I had no idea it didn't come with patter.
Instructions.
So then I didn't have patter. Yeah, because it didn't come with patter.
Patter is a magic word for a script. It's like the words that you say while you do the magic thing. Yeah, right, yeah. So you didn't know what it did or what you're supposed to do.
The only patter I ever had was what was written down. So I would just So I took it to my neighbor's, and he was like, that's great. You should show it to this neighbor over here next door. So I went over there and showed him the trick, and he was like, great, come with me. And then He took me into his basement and he had magic tricks all over the wall.
What?
And this was in Ohio.
You didn't even know he was a magician.
Right. I didn't know he was a magician.
He was an undercover
magician. I never
magician.
met him.
Yeah.
For some reason. He was like a new neighbor or something. And
that story could have gone really bad the other way.
Yeah,
if it was
I wasn't.
Any other neighbor invited you into your basement.
Yeah, I was not a hot child. So
that's terrible.
I didn't get abducted into any Facebook groups as a kid.
This is going to be the episode that never airs because but you're in the basement. And,
he's
all of a sudden it's like Willy
place.
Wonka's Warehouse of Magic.
And then he opened me up to a whole world of like how to perform. And he was from Chavez School. He did Chavez School, and he had a teacher. I forget his teacher's name, but his teacher was like Zombie Ball King, and like this weird. I don't know. It was a weird niche thing, and he was all about suave. That's the word he kept using.
Do it smooth. Yeah,
everything was smooth. Everything was clean. Everything had a smile.
Yep.
And he was also very against. He was also very into talking about how these are tricks. This is not actual magic. He wanted to tell everybody that, and that was really important to him.
He wanted them to know it wasn't actual magic?
Yes.
Okay.
This is a skill act.
Because when it's done so smoothly, it looks...
Yeah. So he was like, he had these tenets of how to perform magic, and that led me into, he was like, always smile and play music, and
every move's a picture, right? So it's like you do a thing and then you kind of pause. Yeah.
And he did like really cheesy tricks too, like the stuff you'd buy in a store and then it works.
Yeah.
But he was very, very particular about certain things, and it was really good to have that kind of structure for magic for me as a kid. So I learned from him, and then I think the thing that drew me to magic was the ability to open people up and affect them.
Yeah.
And I saw that in a lot of things. When I started looking for it, I saw it in athletics. I saw it in everything. People, anywhere humans were excelling.
Yeah.
I saw the audiences being opened up to something new, or like seeing something in themselves that they hadn't seen before. Like I'd see a Jackie Chan movie, and then I'd go, "Oh, I want to jump through a ladder or whatever."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or I can do that. I never even knew that a person could do that stuff.
Yeah.
So it made me pumped about myself, and I like that.
That's really cool, man.
So I got into like all kinds of different arts of like, not arts, but doing balloon sculpture and unicycling and juggling. And
you were sure to not call balloon sculpting an art there. I noticed that. You're like, hold on.
I don't know. I think I'm trying to define a lot of things for myself right now. Like, I'm trying not to define entertainment as an art. It's more of it's a craft to me, because an art is useless, and like by definition it's useless, and that's a great thing. That's the thing that we need as people. We need some things that have no practical use. Mm-hmm. But for me, entertainment is a craft. It's something that you work to make better. Yeah. And there are goals, and you
that makes me think too, because like, was it Steve Martin who said like, be so good they can't deny that you're good?
Yeah.
If it's art, then it's objective. Like, you might love it and I'm going to hate it, but there are certain entertainers that get to a point where you can't watch them and not think they're hilarious or think that they're amazing, or
Yeah.
So that's good, man. That is the differentiation between art and craft is huge.
Yeah. So that's what I'm into. I'm into entertaining people, and that kind of separates me from a lot of other performers, because that's my drive. Like, what's maximum entertainment? So that's where BoobieTrap comes from, is the idea of like, how do we take most efficiently provide the most entertainment in a situation. I
saw you perform at the Castle years ago, maybe like 10 years ago. Would you have been at the Castle 10 years ago?
Yeah.
And then I saw you somewhere. We did some weird show somewhere. One of the weird shows we ended up doing.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing you, and your show has simultaneously this element of, I don't know what's going to happen next, and yet I'm totally comfortable.
Right.
Like, I don't, it seems chaotic, but I at the same time feel like you're totally in control.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
a lot of times guys are like, they're out there and they're crazy and they're wild, and it's uncomfortable because it's like, I don't even think he knows what he's doing next.
Right.
But especially now, like seeing you at BoobieTrap, it's like, oh man, he's in complete control, and yet he's taking us to a place we don't know.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Thank you.
And that is so unique. I mean, because so often a juggler, it's like, okay, he's going to start with 3 balls and he's going to joke about that, and then he's going to move on to this, and then he's going to do the big knife thing, and then, you know, and
yeah.
you don't follow those same kind of guides that a lot of guys.
Right.
How did you discover that? Was it just through that, I want to make it the most entertaining? And
it's the actual, like, it's that pursuit of entertainment. I learned from Frank Olivier taught me to. He's a juggler and a magician in San Francisco, and he said that there's no bad audience. So no such thing as a bad audience. So every time I did a show, I put it on myself to make things work. Like if I'm doing a show that's kind of like base or like simple, and then the audience is like above it, they've seen it all before and they're not interested, then that's my job to change and adjust to them, maybe do more highbrow stuff or more creative, whatever stuff they haven't seen. And so I learned that was a major driver. That was kind of a mantra for me in how I pursue entertainment, and I found out that that's kind of what I like, and for me it's I want people to be. I think that people, I've like studied a lot of weird things like marketing and propaganda and all kinds of things.
Yeah,
I think that and productivity and stuff like that, and we're all sheep a lot of the time. Most of the time during the day we're sheep, and a lot of people don't want to admit that.
Yeah, and
we want to feel like we're in control, but we're pretty disappointed when we're in control usually. Yeah, because then when you're in control, like let's say I'm in control of my kitchen being clean, and that's all up to me, then if there's a spot on the floor, then I can get fixated on that spot, and I can be disappointed in myself for that spot on the floor. Yeah, you know, and everything's up to me. But when I'm in sheep mode and somebody else is completely in charge, like people get pretty into like being kidnapped and stuff because like the Stockholm syndrome, I think a lot of that comes from feeling like, or the military. People fall in love with the military because of discipline, because feeling like somebody else is in control and they just have to do a very simple thing that's put in front of them. So bringing that around, I think that sheep, if I can help people get into a sheep mentality while they're at a show where they feel like they have a leader, they have somebody that's not going to take them, that's not going to hurt them or damage, do something that's against their morals or something like that, then and I can kind of forcibly put them into this situation where they're just going along with it. Yeah. Then they're going to have a good time. And it's a crazy thing. It's very manipulative, but responsibly manipulative. Yeah.
I mean, I think we got to realize anytime we're putting people in an environment where there's lights and there's music and the temperature is a certain way, and it is taking them to a place. Yeah. I came out of, before I was a full-time entertainer, I was a youth pastor. Yeah. And I was at a church that was very much, you know, it's a show. It was show business. It was. Yeah. And I think as entertainers, there is that thing. There's that responsibility of saying, okay, I understand this can guide people a certain place, but I just need to be wise with what I do with it.
Right. Yeah. And it's great to have, like, we have time limits in shows and different things so that you know how much you're going to give to the performer. Right. You know that, like, that's a good way to feel that relief too, is like, I know I'm only going to sit here for an hour and a half or whatever. Yeah. So the things that happen, I can kind of chill out and let things happen. Yeah. And I think that, I think that's a beautiful thing. Like, accepting that part of our humanity is really nice. And I feel like people come to me because I'm an expert.
Yeah.
Just like if you go to a doctor, you don't want to like figure out what's wrong with you, with him,
right?
Or her. You want to figure out. You want them to tell you what's up,
right?
You want to be able to trust them to give you the thing, and and I feel like that's my job as an entertainer, as a person that's seen lots of shows, has read a lot of books, who's studied this and thought deeply about this. This is my job to take over for these people so that they don't have to plan. Because if they're sitting there thinking, do I get up and leave now? Do I go to the bathroom? Is this a thing that I like, or is this not a thing I like? Is whatever. Do I decide what I think about next? Yeah. Like that's kind of, that's going to lead to, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I think that leads to people going back into their normal life, because they make their decisions for most of their life. So
instead of suspending disbelief and trusting you along the way. And I've noticed you do that. Like, a few times I've seen you do that at BoobieTrap, where you like check in with them. Like after this act went, it didn't go the way they planned, and you're like, okay, yes, we're gonna be good. Like, stick with us. Yeah. And there is something too, like you said, about that time limit, not just for the show, but even like with BoobieTrap, where it's like everyone knows, the audience knows every act is 4 minutes. Yeah. So even if this act isn't their cup of tea, they know 3 minutes and 32 seconds from now, they're going to see something different. Right. There's something special about that formula. Right.
And then I'm there as a leader also. So no matter how crazy that act goes, they know that I'm going to come back. Everything's going to be okay. Yes. I'm going to take care of it. And, and when somebody goes over, it used to be the BoobieTrap, people would go over a lot during the show. They'd go over time, and I'd cut them off just completely and send them away. And that was really great. People were like, oh, that's so nice, because we know that we're safe. In a lot of shows, we don't know whether we have to like this act or not. And they can just go, we love this. Yeah. This is something that I would never watch. Dude. I would never choose to watch, and I'm just going to enjoy it. Yeah. It's great.
I love it too. You're breaking all of the... I'm saying I love it too much. But you're breaking all of the things that people don't like about going to live theater, going to see comedy. Like, I mean, if you go... the Comedy Store is an amazing place. But if you go to the 7 o'clock show at the Comedy Store, it's going to go till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Because they're just going to keep putting guys up, because they can keep selling drinks. And and also this idea of, as a performer, taking responsibility for how it goes. Most guys that I know will come off stage and they'll either be like, I killed because the audience was hot. Maybe they're, you know, the guy that came up before them was awesome, and so they're just pumped up. Yeah. Or they don't get the reaction and they go, terrible audience. you know? Right. It's very cool, man. It's a different... I think it's encouraging for other performers to hear. It's a different way to look at it than to just we're stuck with the environment we walked into, right? As opposed to, hey, we're going to craft this.
It's the total opposite of we're stuck with the environment that we walked into. It's like you would hate that if your mechanic said that to you, right? Like, if your mechanic was like, well, we couldn't get a shop on the other corner, so I don't have access to power, electricity. The other shop has power in it already. Yeah. You'd be like, fuck, just buy some...
But get a generator.
PG&E. Yes. Fix my car.
I found too, like I was for a long time was nervous to speak up and to be like, look, I do a lot of private party, like company events. Yeah. Which are a whole different thing I'd love to talk to you about. Yeah. But I was for a long time, I'd be in there and go like, oh, this setup is awful. This is going to be really rough. Yeah. And I would just deal with it. Yeah. And now I'm at a point where I go, look, I do this every day. Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. Last night, I was doing an event at a restaurant called the Odyssey, and they have this banquet room. Okay. It's like the setup, the typical awful setup where it's like a stage, dance floor. Right at the dance floor is 100 people in round tables. Left of the dance floor, 100 people in round tables. Nothing on the dance floor. Okay, nice. So, time for the show. Everyone pick up your chairs. Yeah? I had everyone move their chairs. Good. Onto the dance floor. And for 5 minutes, it was kind of funny and weird. And what are we doing? Yeah. And then the show went great because I just changed it to what it needed to be. You know? And at the end, they were happy. they might have been freaking out for that 5 minutes, but at the end it worked. So I think that's good, man. It's like,
that's great.
Don't
Good
just play by the rules that
I would have just done a dance show. No, that's great, man. Yeah, and that's the opportunity that I'm having now is people are coming to me with the opportunity to produce more things and create things and consult on different stuff, which is great because I've loved performing the very best I can in whatever context. But I've also seen like terrible performers, terrible entertainers going up in front of an audience and getting paid a lot of money, and meanwhile, like Michael Rayner sitting at home, or just making $325 at a library instead of while this other performer is making 15 grand in a corporate show. Yeah. So and just like kind of hypnotizing the audience into just being bored and complacent and okay with it the whole time. So so now I'm in a place where I can tell people to move the chairs more, and I can before the entertainer starts, and I can say, oh, this isn't whatever, your doors are too big in the back and this isn't going to work, whatever. So that's really great to me, like to be able to change from the beginning where it starts, because the context is very important.
And people deserve better.
Yeah.
Like, as entertainers, we need to realize people deserve better. Like, if they're coming out, if they're buying a ticket to a show, they could have gone anywhere that night. And they came here. Mm-hmm. Let's honor their time. You know, let's give them a good show.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of guys just go like, that's good enough.
Right.
I'm magicians. And this is where, like, I'm curious as to how you started in magic and then stopped doing magic so much.
And I got promoted to juggler.
Dude. This is how I describe where I'm at. I love magic.
Yeah.
Since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
I hope to one way be successful enough to work myself out of it.
Yeah.
Like every great entertainer used to be a magician. Steve Martin used to do magic. Neil Patrick Harris used to do magic.
Yeah. I don't know. David Copperfield used to do magic. And now he does his show. I'm sorry.
This was the show I got blacklisted.
I don't know. I liked juggling because it was active, and because the way I was learning magic was I was in Ohio. I had this teacher that was like, I was doing like hippity hop rabbits and linking rings and these other tricks that audiences had seen before. So they'd be like, I've seen this before. And then
even though your routine might have been totally different. No. I mean, I just did the justification thing.
Thank you.
Do. You're like, it's the same thing.
It was whatever was in the instruction book, which was, it could have been racist.
All magic instructions were written by 1920s racist white men.
Yeah.
See, the thing is,
I went to India. That happens a lot. If you ever wonder, like, watch a magic act. If you're not a magician, watch a magic act and just see the AIDS quilt of patter that happens throughout the show. Like, sometimes they'll have like an old man joke and they'll have something else, and this is all just like cobbled together from different people's routines without much consideration for how it flows together, or what having a person ever prioritizing a personality. So anyway, I was doing these magic tricks, and people would be like, "Oh, I've seen that before," and then they don't really care. They didn't care about the trick while I was doing it, and
they just checked out.
Right. And with juggling, even if they'd seen it before, it was happening right there.
Yeah, that's true.
Magic doesn't happen in that moment in the same way. It's kind of if people see it as a trick, then they see it as a thing that you prepared or have or whatever, and that stuff happened beforehand. We're not really risking stuff going wrong or anything happening in that moment. So I like juggling because it was good for every audience, and it was something that I was doing that was happening. Plus, it was better. It was easier to. It was more fun to practice in my yard throwing things around than to practice in my room in front of a mirror.
Right.
And that's why I got more into that stuff.
I've never thought about that before with juggling, how it happens in the moment.
Yeah.
Even if you learn a trick, it could not work this time.
Yeah.
It's the old, guy's going to jump on a dirt bike and you're like, maybe this time it'll fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever feel like as a juggler, and you are not a traditional juggler by any sense, so, I mean, but do you ever feel like you could do 40-minute show, and if you drop one thing, they're like, oh, this guy's a hack. I've noticed that with audiences sometimes. Like, the guy doing insane stuff, and if he drops one thing, it's like, really?
Yeah. I don't have that problem for myself with the audience.
Yeah.
They like me when I do everything. But and that's kind of my style of entertainment, is just making everything work.
Yeah.
Like, that's the point.
They don't know if there's a mistake.
Right. Well, the point is, like, there are plenty of things that go wrong. Like, somebody just shared this meme with me today that was like about how every show everything goes wrong and you're just trying to make it still happen. Yeah. And she was like, well, I guess he's seen BoobieTrap. That's what she said about this meme. And I said, yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, things go wrong like crazy in shows, right. And we try, and a lot of producers and people try to smooth it out,
right? And
then the audience is just like, why is it, this person looks really tired, but I don't know why everything's perfect, and I don't even know why I want to watch this. Like watching a car race that's guaranteed to have no wrecks, right? Like, why do I care? Yeah. But when I get stressed out about life and stuff like that, and it's really nice for me to think that, to take the perspective of no matter what happens, we can still enjoy it. Like, that's awesome. So if I bring all the flaw to the show, then people can experience that with me, and maybe they can take that with them just for a second in their life, thinking, oh, when that thing went wrong, that guy was fine with it. Like, the entire reason that he exists, his whole career, was on stage in front of all these people. Yeah. Things didn't go smoothly, and he still loved it, and we all loved it. That's awesome to me. That's really fun, and that's a cool, and whatever. Yeah, it encourages people. They go like, oh, I can't even imagine being up there if everything went right. Yeah. And if he can do it, then I can deal with this thing I'm dealing with. Yeah. I love it when shows transcend just being a show. Yeah. I really do, man. I love it when it's like, oh, someone might make some different decisions because of this thing, you know? Well, that's like the point, right? That's the whole point of the entertainment. Man. Like, that's why, like... Wait, I thought it was about having a lot of people follow me on Instagram and making a lot of money. That'd be cool. Never tried that. I have 2,000 followers on Instagram. If you guys want to follow me, Scot Nery. Scot Nery. Just spell it right. Good luck. You were saying that's the whole point of it. That it's about taking people somewhere. Cavemen were telling stories, not just to entertain people, but we'd also learn from that, like how to hunt and how to whatnot. Yeah. And how to live, and then the Greek stories all teach a lesson. Yeah. And that's what we do. That's what all this entertainment stuff is about. It's a way to communicate something bigger than we could communicate through whatever other stuff. Dude, that's huge, man. I'll edit out the awkward long pauses, but that's good. Yeah. Dude. People won't recognize me. Who's that guy you had on? He talked smoothly. He talked like he'd taken the Chavez course. I could hear his back palms, though. I could hear it. Totally. He totally flashed the color change. That's the funny thing about magic, too. See, I always feel like, I'm like, magicians are going to hate me for listening, this, and then I'm going to be like, I'll realize none of them actually listen to it anyway. But I do have this love-hate with magic, because the thing I love about magic is it gives you a Santa Claus moment. If it's done right, then it can take you out of whatever mess you're dealing with and make you go like, oh, maybe there's something else possible, right? Yeah. But 99% of the time, that's not what it is. Right.
And 99% of the time, it's like, oh, this guy's waving handkerchiefs. People don't use handkerchiefs.
Yeah.
Why are there so many card tricks?
People don't use cards.
No. It's like in the 1800s when this crap was like getting popular, everyone had a deck of cards on their table.
Right.
Why are we still playing with cards?
Yeah.
And I do card tricks. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's like... But so, dude,
that's what juggling. Same thing with juggling. Like people do balls and juggling clubs, or they do their normal stuff, and like it's arbitrary.
Yeah,
where you can just show people that you can manipulate something, and it can be anything.
Right.
It could be that crock pot. I could do a 10-minute routine with a crock pot.
Copyright. 2017, Scot Nery.
Scott's Crockpot.
Scott's pot. It's Scott's pot.
Yeah, so I think it's silly, but that's how it is.
But that
what was the point?
Well, I was saying the things that I do love about magic are the ability, when done right, that it can take you to a different place. And I love that you're approaching everything you do like that, because I feel like that's when it becomes more than just, oh, it was nice watching your talent show. You know, It's like, let's do something that actually matters. Yeah. Especially now with everything going on. It's like we could actually do good with what we have the opportunity to do.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Every time I go to the Magic Castle, I want to do a magic act. I just like get upset, and well, that's how I get motivated to do things most of the time is just thinking something needs to be done. Yeah. So that's what motivates me, and I love magic, and I want to see a great act. Mm-hmm. So here's one idea for a magic act. If anybody's a magician out there and they want to do a magic act, I'm not going to do it ever, but instead of presenting it as a magic act or as a dude that is for some reason wearing a weird suit, and has a paper bag. He has a paper bag and a suit. Instead of that premise, you could. My idea is like do like a TED talk and present the magic that you see from around the world. So the idea is like I come on stage and I say, "This is an iPhone, and to us it's normal, but if you show it to somebody in Buduku, Kenya, it is a miracle."
Right.
And we have things, I travel around the world and I see things that are amazing to Westerners, things that I had never seen growing up or anywhere in my life. And I'm going to share some of these things with you. These are just normal things. These are not magic, but they look magical. And then do a whole magic act based on the premise of people doing practical things in their lives, like turning, like, this is how people in a small town in Ireland filter their water. And you like turn dirty water into clean water in a magical way using like a clear bucket, but like it looks like a practical thing. So like that would be way more fun to me.
Right, but I can buy an invisible deck at Hollywood Toys and Costumes and go perform it tonight.
I'll sell you all kinds of invisible things.
The Emperor's New Magic Act.
Yeah, that's great.
No,
I do a toy show.
I seriously love what you're saying, because this is my struggle, man. It's like, do I stop doing magic because of this stuff, or do I try to do it better, or is it always, no matter what you do? I mean, if you think about it, who are the top magicians in the world? Mm-hmm. Other than Penn and Teller, which they're more leaning toward like comedy with magic, right?
Right.
But you have David Copperfield, David Blaine, Chris Angel. The best we got are still jokes to most of the world.
Right. Right.
What do we do different? How do we regain the wonder without the bad hair and suits? And
I don't know. I think that, But like Houdini.
Yeah.
Houdini's not a joke to people, right?
No.
I mean, they use him as he's like an archetype or something, but he's not a joke. I don't know. You be a Houdini.
Be a Houdini.
Be somebody that the world needs.
Gosh, man.
What bothers you about magic? About the magic you do?
Here's what bothers me about the magic I do. I have 3 things that I do right now that I love.
Okay.
and then the rest of what I do is stuff that's started off as basic ideas in magic or someone else's routine.
Yeah.
I mean, like you would
That's how it works.
That's how it works. That's the thing. The thing in comedy is you create your own stuff, and if you use anyone else's stuff, it's hack and it's no good. But in magic, it's totally acceptable for someone to create a routine and then sell it or put it in a book, and other people can do it. So I spent all these years finding things that I like. Oh, that's an idea that I like. And then I've added stuff to it to where now it's like, oh, that's a really good routine. But the stuff that's good about it, it has nothing to do with the actual trick.
Yeah.
So how do I get rid of all that stuff that was someone else's and just do the part that is special about it?
Right.
But then when I do that, it's like, oh, it's storytelling and it's humor. It's not really magic.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have a few things now that I'm working on that are like original, or as much as they can be in magic, you know.
What's the thing that you love? What's a routine that you love? Describe it to me.
I do.
This is heavy for you.
This is. I know I'm getting all dark.
Why is this so heavy? Go ahead. Tell me a trick that you love.
I'm doing a trick where it's. I tell a story about my favorite time growing up was driving in my dad's 54 Chevy, and I have the old license plate that was on his car. And so I say, you know, license plate is all that's left, that and this story. And I tell this fun story, and it's a fun story to tell. And then later in the show, through a series of events, the audience comes up with this random number, and it happens to match the license plate that was my dad. So it's like a bookend for the show.
Cool.
So that I really like anything that's personal.
Yeah.
You know, I do a thing with a Rubik's Cube that's not like a normal Rubik's Cube trick, but just because I like how unique a mixed up cube is. Like, it's astronomical.
Right.
And I am able to use that to parallel life. Like, people want their life to be perfect and all the pieces in the right spot, you know? So it's like those kind of things that I like really get jazzed about. But it's like, oh, I kind of am loving the storytelling side of things more than, you know?
Yeah.
And just having fun with the audience.
Do you then yell at the audience when the Rubik's Cube is solved about how boring it is?
Yes. Yes.
It's boring!
You ruined it!
Who cares now?
How dare you?
You just made a piece of trash.
Garbage. Not unique at all. Get out of here.
Just like you.
Just like you.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
So I think that's great. I think making something, it's really hard it's hard to create from that perspective. I think it's hard to create from like, what do I like and what do I want to do? What would be the best thing to do? But, I think if you keep looking at, the things that aren't done enough, the things that you think are missing, you keep trying to find what needs to be done. It's to think of something that you want to see, so you can do it, and you can see it out there. Like if you think that people are throwing away their tricks, or they're doing things with objects that don't make sense, or they're disrespecting their audience or whatever, then figure out how to do the thing that you want to see, and take notes on that. I have a million notes of tricks and things that I want to do, but I haven't done them, and I might never do them. But like that motivates me to develop ideas and keep thinking in that direction. I'm still doing that. I'm doing that right now with stand up. I'm trying to think of what's the stand up. Society's changing a lot right now for the better. With a lot of different cultural things, and I would like to do something that's modern and taps into that in some way. But and I've written a lot of stand up.
Yeah,
I want to make a new stand up routine, some new stand up stuff that's really potent and fills the gap.
Yeah. Do you find yourself writing something and then just going, it's not good? Like, it's like, especially when you're dealing with topics that are important and need to be addressed.
Yeah.
There's that thing of like, okay, Because with stand-up, you've got to put some stuff out there and try it and workshop it a little bit.
Yeah.
But when you're dealing with a topic like that, do you find yourself just going, I'm just not going to go there?
Well, mostly for my life, I'm not I'm not politically interested. I don't watch the news. That doesn't feed me.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really help me. So I'm not a political person. I'm very much, I have a tendency to be kind of controlling in my life. So, if I'm looking at the whole world and I'm looking at all the stuff in the world, then I feel like a responsibility to fix everything. Like, oh, I should be serving in the military, and I should be in the politics, and I should be a Buddhist monk, and then I'm like disappointed in myself all the time. But if I usually try to look at myself, look at who I am, and see what I can fix in myself, and that's what my stand-up will be more about. But it's in a context of today's society.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's where today's society comes in, but it's not about me. It's about like how we're able to talk about things that we couldn't talk about before and stuff like that.
Yeah. But focusing it internally, and where it's not the world is bad and pointing at everything else, but saying, here's what I'm trying to process. Like,
yeah, that's how I look at my life. So that's what my stand up is going to be about. It's going to be about me and that's what I like in good stand up is I like to find out learn about a person.
Yeah.
And like really learn in detail and then see that reflection of myself in them and like learn about, oh, maybe it's okay to expose that part of myself and be more vulnerable and be more open and take some shame out of out of who I think I am and stuff like that.
I think naturally we would think, oh, the more it's about me, the less people are going to connect with it. But isn't it amazing when like people, the more open they are to share where they're at, everyone goes, I've dealt with that. Like I'm in that same spot. Like, yeah. It's crazy cool. Like, and if you tried to put together something that's like, this is going to be appealing to everyone, you would water it down so much that no one could really relate. You know?
Yeah. It's really, I think that entertainers get into that trap. They try to make a solid thing that's can be the exact same every time. Yep. And that they can do for everybody. And you can get to a certain point, but then it gets, you'll get that same response everywhere. Right. Not a killer response sometimes. And being flexible. Like I know guys who can kill on a cruise ship, but that's a bunch of old white people. Yeah. And they're going to bomb other places because they don't shift their context. Right. You know? Right. That's good. Yeah, man.
This is great. Okay, so I know we're going to land the plane here soon, but this is not, again, like I said, it's not like a how-to guide, but you have seen so many different acts and entertainers. Yeah. What advice would you give people that are trying to like put together something and be original, other than what we've already shared? Like, what would you say to maybe some pitfalls you've seen people fall into that they just keeps them from doing the thing they want to do?
Yeah. I don't like advice. I don't think it's helpful for me when I give it, but it's not really helpful to receive it ever.
Oh, wow.
Unless it's very specific of like somebody asking me a question for something. Yeah. Why did you put this podcast together?
Why did I put it together?
Yeah.
Because when I was going through a really shitty time, like hearing other people talk about the ups and downs encouraged me. Yeah. So I don't know. Again, because advice doesn't really help.
What was somebody's story that helped you?
Just talking with other performers, man. Like,
example?
I just don't want to tell their story, but I have a friend who's a stand-up and is the happy guy. Like, you see him on stage and everyone thinks he's great. Yeah. And then one day he just opened up and shared with me, and not in a way of being like, oh, you're going through crap too, that's good, but it helped me realize like, oh, I'm not a failure because sometimes I get discouraged, you know, or I'm not, there's not something wrong with me because I struggle in these things that it seems like everyone else has. Yeah. So I don't know.
That's awesome.
I think it's and you're right. More encouraging than advice is just hearing people's stories and where they're at.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry to put you in that spot of saying, give us
No,
some
that's okay.
handy dandy tips that are going to make it all better.
No, a lot of people like to give advice. I'm not that into it. I don't really believe in like motivation or whatever. I think something that I'm working on majorly, I've learned it through BoobieTrap. I used to be a performer. I thought I could just be a badass in my 15 minutes or my set that I do in different shows. I thought I would just show up, kill it, and then people would need me to be in their shows. And like, even if I wasn't a draw, they would want to have me just to make the show good.
Right.
So that everybody could tolerate sitting through the other stuff. And that's what I sought doing was in variety shows or whatever. I was always like trying to be the audience's hero, trying to do the thing that made it worth them coming out. And that was it. And the rest of it was like, I didn't really try to make friends. I didn't, like when I first moved to LA, everybody was on MySpace and all the comedians were friending each other. And I was like, that's for my friends. That's for my, like, whatever, my 20 friends that I care about. That's what MySpace is for. And I didn't get that whole thing of, being a well-rounded individual and being like, and also connecting with people. And now with BoobieTrap, I see that there's a lot more to being in a show than, and a lot more that a booker needs besides just a good act.
Right.
We want somebody that's, a lot of it is the business side of somebody that's going to respond to emails and the phone calls and, is like joyful about responding.
Yeah.
Somebody that's not like, when they like say, oh, I need I don't know, can you do like an iPhone hookup for my music? I really just need, I actually, I don't know. I want to arrive kind of later than everybody else and
leave before it's over. And can you put me on this time so I can cut out? And
all those things are great. Like all those things are fine to do. And I'm not saying that those are bad things to do, but when I have somebody that's just like, boom, I love what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I want to do it. That whole side of it is really great. Being consistent in that, being consistent in entertainment is also great. And that's what I've always cared about. So it's not a new thing for me. And then, being consistent in the other professionality, responsibility stuff has really been good. And also, just, giving me exactly what I want. Like I'll say, hey, can you, I have this little snippet that I send to people really quickly when they want to get booked in BoobieTrap.
Yeah.
I say, please send us a video of a short act. Every act in BoobieTrap gets 4 minutes. We're always interested in seeing the best acts in the world. And people will send us like videos, like 4 videos. They're all like different versions of promo videos with a resume and a whole bunch of different like things from stuff and website links.
Yeah.
Or they'll just like send me a description of the act that they want to do. And it's interesting to me to see people doing that. And when somebody asks me for things, I feel the need to prove myself sometimes.
Yeah.
But a lot of times somebody will ask for just a resume and a headshot, and you send them just a resume and a headshot, and that's like nicer. So I'm trying to learn how to do those things a lot better in my career of showing up and doing exactly what they say to do.
Yeah.
Not trying to overdo it, and trying to just be like joyfully, openly giving and ready and all that stuff. So that's an important, and the consistency is really, because I always try to be consistently good in a show.
Right.
I don't try to do consistently the exact same act, but I try to be consistently good as an entertainer. I also am working harder to be consistent at responding to emails the other stuff that I'm not very good at.
Sometimes it's the stuff off stage that makes the biggest difference with someone who's booking a show or like when I think about who do I want to recommend, if I get asked to do an event and I can't do it, I don't just think who's got the best act. I think who's going to take care of this person, who's going to show up on time, who's going to, like you said, respond to email. And, you know, when they want to do 3 pre-phone calls, are they going to do that? Or is that going to be a hassle for them?
Right.
So that's huge, man. That kind of stuff.
And I've learned a lot from, I've learned a lot from with BoobieTrap there'll be like creepy guys that are like guys that like talk to girls too much or whatever at the shows. And I don't want them around. Yeah. I'm trying to create a really good environment for the entertainers and for the audience. Right. So because I want the entertainers to be excited to show up every time. Yep. I want to have amazing entertainers. So I don't want creepy guys to come to the show. I've talked to a few guys about it. I've said like, hey, I'd love to have you there more, but I need you to please be cautious of this stuff when you're there. And there are a ton of things involved with that. Like, how do they represent me and stuff like that.
That's huge, man. It's so much more than just what do you do in the 4 minutes you're on stage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's stuff that a lot of times guys aren't thinking about. They just think if I've got a killer set, then that's going to open doors for me. Yeah. But being a good person and
yeah, it's crazy. I also costumes. Costumes are great. Yeah. If you don't have something to wear on stage that's specific to the stage that presents a certain thing for you, then that's that tells me a lot. I only let a few performers wear jeans on stage. Yeah. Usually I'm not that I like tell people what to wear, but I'm not into somebody that just comes up with jeans on. And I love a good costume, and I'll book somebody because they have a good costume sometimes, because I want like that photo from the show. I want the video of them. I want like the audience to see amazing value, and just like that's part of it. I don't know why. It's just a weird thing that a lot of people are scrimping on these days.
Oh, that's so good. Because it seems like you get one of two things. Every comedy club is just jeans and a shirt. Yeah. Right? And then the Magic Castle is like a bunch of people look like they just got off work at the bank. Yeah. So you've got to,
I'm not off in the bank. Kind of like a
cell phone salesman.
A bail bondsman. Somebody that doesn't know how to buy a suit for some reason.
It's like a zoot suit.
It doesn't fit right, and it has something interesting about it that nobody's interested in. There's a lot of problems there.
And then a hat sometimes, special hat.
They'll let you. I've gone in there with like in a $20, $15 Goodwill suit, but they won't let you in with $300 jeans on. Very specific. Yes. But I think that intention, that costuming intention, is cool. I don't know. It's not that important to me as a person, but it does. It's more bookable for me.
That's good, man. I'm taking that note to heart. Yeah. Figure out what to wear.
Yeah. If you have something that isn't street clothes. Yeah. Then. Or they could never be street clothes, and that's like awesome. Like Christopher Wonder. Do you know Christopher Wonder?
No, I don't.
You don't know Christopher Wonder?
No.
Oh, dude, you gotta see him a lot. He does he's like the only magician that can perform for drunks. Like he can do an hour-long show for drunk people.
No way.
Like amazing.
Okay, I'm looking him up.
But he's just super fascinating and interesting, and he like paints on a black eye every show, and he has like a band leader's hat on, or something, like a marching band leader's hat on, and he's like all tattooed and crazy, and all his tattoos are all like showbiz tattoos. Like
that's awesome.
Ta-da tattooed on his stomach.
That's amazing.
So he pulls up his shirt, And
That's
on his
amazing.
butt, it says the end. And he moons the crowd and shoots confetti between his legs.
Oh my gosh.
But
That's commitment.
yeah, and that's like, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for caring.
Yeah.
Dude, that's commitment to a bit too, because he had to get the tattoo to try it out.
Yeah.
When he was like, they're not liking it. Oh, Scott, this has been so good, man.
Yeah.
This has been so good. I can't thank you enough. I have a million other things we could talk about, but we'll have to do part 2 sometime.
Thanks for coming over.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
How can people get a hold of you? How can they come see BoobieTrap? And
Just search for BoobieTrap show and you can find it. Search for Pancake Juggler and you can find me, or Juggler in Los Angeles or whatever. You can find me. Yeah.
Awesome. I will put a link in the show notes.
Okay.
So people can go find you on social media and join the crew that's following Scot Nery.
Good. I'm trying to build my Instagram following and trying to make things interesting there with both BoobieTrap LA and Scot Nery. And please send me good acts. If you have an act that you've worked hard on and it's complete and it pays off, then I would love to see it. Definitely. Even if it takes me a while to watch it, I really I love good entertainment, so I always want the best and I want to give people work.
Love it. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
This show comes out November 29th. If you're listening the day it comes out, I will be at BoobieTrap tonight with Scot Nery. Between now and then, I'm going to go find an outfit to wear.
That's crazy. Yeah, please. Crazy hat or something.
Crazy hat, yes. All right, man. We got to go, guys. We're going to get matching tattoos right now.